This episode is presented by Warriors Hope, serving our veterans by helping them reintegrate back into civilian life effectively. Visit them online at warriors-hope.org.
Well, we were talking area around us today. Got well, not today, but over the last couple of days, got hit with a EF2 tornado. So,
Jesus, that's lighter.
That's a lot lighter for us. It was near us. It wasn't us,
That's the later part. It wasn't us.
right? Well, you know, John, with you going through all of your emergency training, I mean, when tornadoes hit around, I mean, what's your response? I mean, were you on duty at the time near us? I mean, because it was still really shitty out here.
I was still on my couch enjoying life.
Yeah, watching the dark clouds go by, going, "I'm glad I'm not working right now."
Pretty much, yes. We were in Midland for a family member's open house, and my son and I had left early, and of course he was all worried about Ma and his little brothers getting home safe, because at that time the tornado was in Eaton Rapids and was making its way over here. So no, it was good timing for me. You know, I've been stuck in a couple storms where we have had tornadoes, and those suck, man. Those suck because you can't see nothing anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, I just figure I'm going to be one of those idiot casualties just driving around and, you know, get tossed. But I've always said, if something happens to me, I hope it's while I'm at work.
Right. Well, with you being on the fire department now, I mean, you got a chance to be called out on those to stand and watch. And
yeah, we didn't get called out. The South End did. They got called out for a couple weather watches. They also got called out for several power lines down and things like that. But luckily for us, we went through the period where all of ours was taken down and replaced. So we have newer infrastructure. so now our power lines just pretty much come down when a drunk hits them. So
right.
Yeah, it's a good time. But yeah.
And only one of us got pulled over recently, so we got that going on for us too.
Right. Well,
we won't say who that was.
Well, it certainly wasn't me. I can't remember the last time I got pulled over, but, you know, truthfully, that could be like 3 days ago.
Right. I'm surprised Dustin could remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I was with my dad when I got pulled over. Wasn't even paying attention. I was completely at fault. And he just looked up, saw the cop. He goes, "Oh boy, pull over." So here's one for you, John. Okay.
I think you owe Tim a thank you first.
Well, yes, thank you, Tim. We won't go into much detail, but we'll go with it. I have a license to conceal carry in the state of Michigan, and I had my firearm nearby. We were on our way up north, so we didn't even get 2 miles from my house before this all happened. It was a great send-off to the day. I spent all day in court, and then
wait a minute. You said you were going north, but you were heading south.
Funny story about that. I was supposed to go to the library to turn in a book for my wife that she forgot about. So I'm blaming her, and she's listening right now at my in-laws' place.
Right. Well, maybe not. We've gotten word that Canada is censoring everything, so maybe she's not listening.
Right.
Well, we haven't said the virus word yet, so maybe they're not censoring that yet. So I was going to the library here in town, and to drop off her book. I'm just going to put that out there, her book, and got pulled over near the library.
You can't read.
Still, hey, I can listen to a book as good as anybody.
Exactly. Audiobook.
Love audiobooks. Got pulled over next to the library, about the next row, in between the two roads, right before you get to the library there. And when we got back from up north, we dropped the library book off because I still forgot about it.
See, you were in a hurry, and then you got stopped, and then you forgot what you were in a hurry for.
Oh, they're not censoring us yet over there.
Not yet.
Yeah. Hello,
So-
Amanda. Thanks for
Right.
joining
Watch
again.
this. I believe in constitutional carry, and I identify as vaccinated. There, we're on the list.
Well, now she said she can't hear us. We went dark.
Weird.
So I had my pistol next to me in between kind of where I carry it in the truck when we're driving. And immediately I pulled out my driver's license and my concealed carry and handed it over. Now, as a police officer, is that the proper way? Is that how you would like it to be handled if somebody has a concealed carry like that? Or
Yeah. So
what
like,
is the better protocol?
when you take your classes, they're supposed to be telling you that is how you do that, as long as you are carrying. And if you're not carrying, you still have to identify that you are a CPL holder. So yeah, that is the proper way to do it. Most of us that have been doing this a while just assume everybody is armed, regardless if they have the little license or not.
Okay. So I had it there. I identified it. I showed them where it was at. I didn't go and say, "Here it is."
Right.
That's
Well,
a
that's good. I'm
definite
glad you could
no-no.
join us tonight, because that probably wouldn't have been how it ended.
But I did say it's located, next to my knee, and he said,
Right.
"Okay, that's fine." But what do you do in that situation when you walk up to a vehicle? I mean, granted, I have the podcast sticker on it and infantry, so it's probably a safe bet to say that there might be a firearm in the vehicle.
Right.
But I noticed he came up and touched the rear light,
Sure.
and I see a lot of cops that do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that's fingerprints, or am I wrong?
No, that's old school thinking. Yeah.
Okay. So your generation thinking then?
Yeah.
And
And the next one under it.
yes.
and,
Thanks.
and so how do you prepare yourself to go up and what are you looking for, or what can you share?
Sure. So, traffic stops are probably one of the most dangerous things that we do next to domestic violence calls. Traffic stops, you have everything to worry about as far as, initially seeing the vehicle. What do you see is that you want to stop the vehicle for? And then, of course, you're not only looking for the traffic behind that car to turn around, but also you. So you got to manage everybody's safety. And I think when you rode with me, there was a couple of times where I said, yeah, they're speeding, but it's not safe to turn around and stop them. So once you do get the vehicle stopped, I should say, it's a whole process. So once you even decide that you're going to stop that vehicle,
He
everything
had
happens.
every right to pull me over. Let's just say that.
Right.
There was a little higher speed limit because I was not paying attention.
Right. So there, as the vehicle passes you, there should be something that that we see that we're going to stop you for, whether it be, a broadcast that we had received that your vehicle description matches one that was involved in a traffic violation or a crime that we're told over the air to look for, or it could be, anything from a loud exhaust to a cracked windshield to right now nobody has license plates, it seems. And of course the obvious speed. I don't think I need to hit home on that any harder, but as soon as you go past, we're looking at not only the driver, but we're looking to see if there's a passenger. In some of the newer cars, the windows are coming out tinted pretty dark. But generally I like to look and see if there's car seats or kids in the back. And then as I'm pulling up behind you, I'm watching what are the occupants inside the car doing. Does it look like they're trying to hide something? Does it look
Ouch. Good one, Amanda.
right? Well, yeah.
Did you forget to turn your radio on, John?
No, I've stopped a few in my day. Let's just put it that way. Listening's hard for some people to do.
Just so we know, Amanda, who dispatches for John, said he has to be listening.
Yes.
First.
I'm glad you got that right. She dispatches for me, not to.
Oh,
me.
is that
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So anyway,
sorry I set it up.
I'm so you're looking to see because we have had people stash needles or heroin or whatever. So you're looking for movements within the car. No, Bobby, we do not have a quota. Those are illegal. But we do have grants. I'll just hit on it real quick. We do have grants that are funded by the state and federal governments that they would like to see us make contact with a certain number of people. It does not mean we have to issue citations. Like, well, if we're working a seatbelt grant, they put us in the government, I should say, local or the state, tells us exactly where we can work. We can't pick our spots where we know there are a lot of violators. We have to go where the state tells us to. And so we hit those areas, and we do have contacts. What we mean by contact is we will stop the person, and if they're not wearing a seatbelt and we're working seatbelt enforcement, we'll issue the citation. No big deal. If we're stopping you, sometimes it's just a courteous stop. Like, hey, not sure if you knew this, but your brake lights are out, or you have a turn signal out. Did you use your turn signal? Things like that. Just because you're getting pulled over by the police does not mean it's a negative contact. Now, alcohol enforcement, same thing. We try and work those in specific areas to us that we know are problematic. And those, same thing. We have a number of contacts that we would like to make. Obviously, if you're seeing somebody that's swerving or inconsistent speeds or at an intersection maybe too long, those are some of the indicators of someone that's possibly intoxicated behind the wheel. Another one is, my favorite one is, they seem to always forget to dim their headlights because they're so focused on driving straight and driving the speed limit. They forget to dim their headlights. There's too many tasks at hand to involve in driving. So those are just some of the things that I'm looking for. So to get back on point to your question, Dusty, is so as I'm, I think you were with me when I made some traffic stops, but as I'm pulling up behind the vehicle, I like to leave enough space between their vehicle and mine that if I do need to start field sobrieties on the side of the road, I have enough room safely to do so between the two cars.
I noticed that when I was with you.
Yep. Now, it also creates distance. Should this crazy person decide to hop out and start opening fire, there's enough distance there that I don't have to make a gap. There's enough gap there already for me to get cover or concealment and work that. It just, where officers have to be careful is standing between the two vehicles. You should try and work on approaching from the passenger side if you're on a busy stretch of highway like Birch Run Road. There is absolutely no shoulder on that stupid road.
Right. Yeah.
I really dislike pulling traffic stops on Birch Run Road in our county because there's no safe way to do it, in my opinion.
So you're saying if we needed to make up time, Birch Run Road would be a good bet.
You can do that. There's lots of driveways on that road as well. And I'm not afraid to pull you over and tell you to go up to the next one and pull in. I've done that before, just so that it's safer for you and I. Because what a lot of people, there's a lot of not pressure, but there's a lot of responsibility on the officer. The minute we activate our overhead lights to initiate a traffic stop on you, we're pretty much we're held liable for your safety. So I have to make sure it's in a safe spot. I have to make sure that my wheels are turned in a safe direction, that if I get ass packed, my car doesn't hopefully go straight into you. It goes off into another direction. I'm trying to keep myself safe. And so if it does mean that I have to tell you to pull off into a parking lot, I can do that, and then same thing, while a lot of people get kind of nervous because the police are just, all right, he gave me my citation, why is he just sitting there? Well, a lot of times I try and block traffic for you to safely merge on and get on your way, because I am responsible for you until you get back on the roadway and on your way. So a lot of things to look for. Trying to get back onto your point, when I'm approaching the vehicle, in this day and age, I don't touch the car. I mean, I probably did when I first started. not a big issue for me. My focus is mostly looking in the car. If it's a truck, I'm looking in the truck bed. Do I see a bunch of beer cans, liquor cans, any hunting or fishing items that maybe would lead me to believe that there's a weapon in the car? As I approach a vehicle like a SUV or a car, I'm looking for, again, those kids. Because I hate to say it, a lot of times for me, if you're speeding like an idiot and I see kids in the back seat, yeah, I'm going to write you. I'm going to do it. Because, if you hurt yourself, fine, that's one thing, but the kids are innocent in all of it. So I try and make it that point. And you might even see me give out the free ice cream cone card for the kids. Because how's mom or dad going to fight that, The officer gave my kid a free ice cream cone. Anyway.
I got the ticket. They got the cone.
Right. Exactly.
There's a $120 ice cream cone.
Right. Exactly. Well, if you're lucky, it might only be $65 for a seatbelt. But anyway,
right.
As I'm approaching the passenger compartment, the main passenger compartment, I'm looking for paraphernalia. I'm looking for your hands. I'm looking for you. How are you? What do your eyes look like? Are your eyes appropriate for the time of day? Nick, you get enough free ice cream, I think. But are your eyes pinpointed or dilated? Or is it appropriate for the time of day? Do you look sweaty? Do you look like you're appropriate for the time of day? Do you look like you're hiding something? A lot of times, people can try and act nervous, but right, Ryan, I hear you. Are they nervous? Are they not listening to commands? Few years back, we did have a problem with some citizens that didn't necessarily recognize law enforcement, but sovereign citizens, they do recognize the sheriff's department, luckily, because our leader is elected versus appointed. But there's just so much going on a traffic stop. I do like to formally introduce myself as my name is Deputy Ramirez from so-and-so. The reason for the stop today is this. What, how fast were you going? Or did you acknowledge this? Anything like that. And 9 times out of 10, we're just looking for people to be honest. I think I even showed you when you were doing your ride along with us, the people that I knew had radar detectors.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Once I hit my button, you're caught. Okay, yeah. Your radar detector is a secondary. It's a reaction to an action.
To something. Yes,
right. So it's like, look, man, I'm just trying to get you to be honest with me. Like, for me, integrity and honesty is a lot. So I can look over a lot. Officers do still have they still have discretion so far. What to do with certain citations and whatnot, but it's very complex.
Well, thanks to the officer that had me pulled over, he definitely used that option. But no, it was all good, and I knew always have a plan whenever I have my firearm with me. That makes, just like as soon as you start pulling somebody over, you're responsible for them. And I feel that, if you're carrying a concealed weapon, number one, as long as you're doing it legally, you went through the class, you heard all the information. I do have firearms training from many moons ago. And so when I'm carrying, I'm always looking around for everybody else. I don't want anybody to really bump up to me, and
right.
all that. And so I've always had it in my mind that if I ever got pulled over, which I was able to implement my plan and it went smoothly, I have the concealed carry behind my driver's license. So I pull them both out, spread them like a deck of cards so they can see that I have 2 cards there and recognize it. And that's just, to me, that's just common sense.
Sure.
He did. I absolutely.
It is what you're required to do by law.
Yeah. And and I showed him right where it was at. It was in plain view, so it's not like I'm gonna, put something over top of it, put my head over top, try to hide it.
Right.
And I just, and then it got me thinking. We had 3 hours to drive after that, and it got me thinking the rest of the way up there of, how I know when I'm in Iraq and I had to approach a vehicle, you know, thumbs on the safety, ready to switch if you need to. There's already a reason that I think everybody's life is in danger. So we're
Right.
already at that point of make a move, you're done kind of mentality. I mean, that's what we train for. If we don't,
Well-
we can't be reactionary. We have to be that, you know, like your radar gun. We have to be the one that puts the reaction on them to save our own lives.
Well,
But
they once
as a
told
cop,
me if you're not cheating, you're not winning, right?
yeah,
That's what I've been told before. So, you know, one of the things that honest, good people, majority of the people we come in contact with, 95, 98% of the people are just good people. They're just
Yep.
ignorant sometimes. So when you're telling an officer, hey, you know, you give me your license and your CPL card, cool. Now you're going to tell me you're either carrying or you're not. All right. Most of the time I'm going to tell you that's cool. It doesn't bother me either way. But if you tell me you're carrying, the wrong thing you want to do is reach for the weapon when you're telling me where it's at.
here it is.
Right. You know, just keep both hands on the steering wheel and say, my gun's on my right hip, left hip, under the center console, whatever. Just don't, yeah. And that's usually when I tell you, all right, get the information I need, just don't reach for the firearm. So
Yeah.
those are
And
some of the
he was-
things that,
The officer that pulled me over, I thought it was very good that he just, it's the ones that don't tell me I'm worried about. I think that was almost his statement. And he was just like, you know, you're good. And I had to reach towards the center because the firearm was here, and I'd reach in the center to grab my wallet because he needed more information. And I was like, well, I'm going to be near it. He goes, I got you. Just, you know, grab that. And that's all you got to grab. Right. And he kept the conversation going. And, you know, I grabbed it to him, handed it, and the rest of it went smoothly. He didn't ask any questions about it. He just saw it was there and knew what to look for if he came back up. And I just thought that was interesting. I want to get your thoughts on the show of, you know, I guess to inform others, but also kind of give cops a quick overview of something that you do every day, and don't get complacent for one thing.
right.
That is definitely something that you don't want to get. I mean, he had no idea who I was. I mean, I'm sure he ran the plates, or I don't know what he did when he first got there. It took him, you know, a good minute or so before he got out. So I'm sure he was looking something up and trying to see if there's anything on the vehicle that could identify. And but overall, it was a good interaction between someone that is a concealed carry person. It was my first interaction like that. You just got to be smart on both sides of that situation, as the driver that's getting pulled over and as the officer is approaching the vehicle.
Well, and a lot of that, Dusty, really depends on your climate that you live in. I've said it before, and I'll say it 100 times every day, that we're very blessed in this area that I do patrol in. We have a lot of law enforcement support. Even the people that have had bad interactions with law enforcement may not have had a bad interaction with a specific officer. And I've shared stories like this before where, you know, a suspect or someone that we're about to take into custody be like, oh shit, Ramirez, it's you. And it's a totally different game. You know, yeah. I've been on calls where an officer was in a fight with someone. They got the subject restrained, and then now the person in custody is asking the arresting officer that he was just in a fight with, like, yo, can he take me to jail? You know, it's like it's nothing. And the bottom line is a lot of officers have to remember they're like just starting to get into this. You can't take this crap personal. You really, really can't. Because we just truly don't understand what's going on in these people's lives. You know, they're losing husbands, wives, children's, you know, maybe looking to go back to prison even for the stupidest thing. You know, they may be on parole or probation, and you know, the next violation could be what sends them back. So just, you know, it is what it is. Just treat them with respect, and generally everything goes fine. Real quick, I see Bobby had wrote a question about what we do with sovereign citizens or people that only open the window a crack. in the state of Michigan, it is required by law that the driver produces a identification or driver's license when they're operating the motor vehicle. So, again, with most sovereign citizens, as far as sheriff's departments, they're standoffish. They hold their ground, but again, they generally treat us with respect. It's just kind of crisp. We'll leave it at that. And for the most part, I've had them. They only roll down the window a little bit, and they'll give you the ID card because they're just more of a leave me alone type of person. It's the ones that causes the issues that are trying to get the rise out of you. They're trying to get you on the news tonight. So, there are things that we can do. Do I want to break out your window? No. Do I have the legal right to if you're the operator and you're refusing to identify yourself? Yeah, I do. But none of us want to be on the news tonight. So that's kind of, I just stick firm with treating people with respect, and it goes a long ways. It's the ones that just open the window a little bit and it smells like a brewery that we have problems with. But yeah, everything's
but they only had one
you
drink.
treat people. Right.
It was,
or two.
It was a long
Just
time ago.
one.
It was like an hour ago, 2 hours ago.
Right. Yes.
Because I
The
remember
story
in
never
Louisiana they have no open container, and I'm assuming Michigan does. I don't know,
Correct.
but you can't have an open container of alcohol in your vehicle. But you have a drive-through daiquiri business, and the way they get around it, because they put the straw in, but they only unseal the bottom 2/3. They have the top
Right.
part right there,
Correct.
and that constitutes a closed container for the drive-through daiquiri.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I don't know if they still have it, but that was hilarious when I found that out when we lived down there. And I asked some cop friends, they're like, yeah, and then you'll see the moisture around the top of it where they took a drink and then put it.
tried putting it back on. Yeah.
No, it was good. I did a lot of compare and contrast on that drive up of, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, Iraq for a veteran, and just coming from my veteran mindset, if we're approaching a vehicle, I mean, you've got everything plus probably a 50 cal pointed at this vehicle.
Right.
So, but when you're on patrol, you're by yourself. Does that ever, I mean, without getting into too much that you don't want to, but does that ever kind of mess with your mind a little bit to know, okay, have you ever had that moment of, I'm the only one here? It's just me. I don't have that backup that you and I would have had in
probably
the service.
my first day 7 years ago. No, I'm happy I don't have a partner in my car. In fact, I rebid night shift. So this fall I'll be going back to my lovely esteemed folks on nights, and
so this will be Zombie Ramirez on our next show in the fall.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we're gonna have to move the show time to like midnight. But I'm trying to wrap my head around having a partner again. I have not had to share my car in years, right? So
you keeping the same car, right?
No, with nights I'll be going to a Tahoe instead of my Explorer. Okay. So yeah,
so you won't be sitting on top of each other.
Yeah, I don't. Well, in my new car it does have more room, so I will say that. I have a brand new Explorer and it does have more room than the one you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, man, I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
So congratulations to John's new partner.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I'd like to just
I'm
say
sorry.
how welcomed
I'm
you are.
Sorry now. If he doesn't go to church, he's going to need to.
I may give him a card and say he's got 3 free sessions.
Right.
Yes. 4th and 5th will be discounted.
Right. Repeat customer, I'm sure. But
so what do you do to yourself to get used to nights? Because is there going to be how much of a break will you have before you switch shifts? I guess I'm just information gathering right now because
right.
It's curious.
Like, I'm switching rotations, so Yeah, if I stayed on the same rotation, I'd have 2 days to switch over. But now, thanks, Tom. But now that I'm switching rotations to
Nighttime Bible
my
studies,
opposite days, I think I'll have one night off. But yeah, oh Jesus, Amanda, stop it. But yeah,
Don't listen to him, Amanda. Keep it up.
Right. Yeah, so it's there's no good way to get yourself used to nights. My beloved wife has been on nights for 13 years, and well, she's working right now, but yeah, I'm just doing it for a minute. I needed a break, probably everybody else needed a break. So we'll just let it go at that. But
what shift do you prefer, the one you're on or nights?
I would really enjoy a split shift. That's what I would enjoy. I would enjoy
kind of one
like
of those
10 to
overlapping
10.
shifts.
And the split shift is
Well, we don't have
overlapping
one.
shift.
but if we
I know
did,
you don't have one here, but
yeah, if we did, I would just totally love it. It'd be like a 10 to 10 or a noon to midnight. Yeah, it would be nice. But it is what it is.
Apparently, Amanda's calling you out again.
Yeah, I know. Well, night shifts, they just how else do you come into work to where it's tonight, but last night was yesterday, and today is tonight, and tomorrow is.
Reports have got to be a blast, especially if it carried on. Yeah, especially if you carried on from like 11:30 to 1:30.
Right.
I don't know how that would do, but that would sound.
Normally I hit my wall at like 3 a.m. Right. So I'm going back a minute because I haven't been on nights in a while, but I've been known to park the car and roll down the window just to freeze my ass off to stay awake. But
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
so we're gonna start stocking up your Monster Energy drink fund.
I like Monster Rehabs. The peach tea and the raspberry tea are amazing.
Look for our Patreon. That's only John's.
John's
Monsters.
And I really love the Rain sour apples. If anybody can see them, find them, let me know. But yeah,
so all donations can be sent to Warriors Hope, who are our 501c3 fiduciary, and we will help John stay awake and keep our area safe.
Right. I'm gonna have to go to Sam's Club to see if they've got it, because right now nobody in the county's got it anymore. So yeah, we'll see.
You go get those big, huge cases like I had in Iraq that my roommate and I would go through a case of those a week.
Yeah, I need some Rippets.
I found a Rippet the other day, and if you guys are looking for content, Jerrod, good luck naming this one.
It might just stay as TBD.
But I found a Rippet the other day at a gas station near where I work, and I had to go back to old times and picked it back up. They still taste terrible.
Yeah, tear your guts up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right.
It was cool. Reliving the old days.
Right. Well, I'm thankful, truly thankful now that detoxing.
Oh, Jules, we won't go into that.
Right.
Talk about migraines for about 4 days.
Yeah, I'm thankful that this whole COVID thing is miraculously over enough that we can get back to normal. I can go back to dispatch and get some coffee. Free coffee is always the best.
Keep the pot on. He'll be there.
Well, my night people, Chad and Brandon makes some for me occasionally, but yeah, Amanda can make some good coffee. But real quick, I want to go back. I'm going to turn it back to what we were talking about. Yep. If there's you're talking about interactions with law enforcement, I've said this before, and generally people only have 2 interactions with law enforcement, right? And they're mostly negative. You're either meeting law enforcement on a traffic stop or you've been a victim of a crime, right? So if you see us advertise coffee with a cop or any sort of public outreach where we Sergeant Robinson brings the dog out and lets people meet Black, or our Shop with a Hero program run by Officer Geyser and Caro, I'm hoping to get back into the schools and read some books to the kids this upcoming school year. But if you have an opportunity to sit
Wait,
down
you
with
don't
an
do
officer,
audiobooks to them? You actually read them?
no, we I almost thought about doing that on this page when the kids were all locked in at home.
Oh, that would've been
I thought it was
cool.
cool.
That would have
Right,
been a good idea.
yeah. Well, when we go
could
through
have
this
had
again at
Jerrod.
the
Well,
next
we
election, we
streamed
can do it.
Jerrod's
Right.
we did
We did.
Jerrod's streaming of Christmas Carol.
What was
that
it you
did
read?
for-
Yeah, the Christmas
Oh,
Carol.
you guys added that to this one
Yeah,
too?
we did.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Local
I let it
hero
run
right
and I plugged my phone in and walked away because I wasn't listening for 3
That's right.
hours.
Right.
That's all right. I
We
didn't
had
want
to
to
give
be
you
speaking
some
for
support.
3 hours. That's
You were wondering who those 2 Iron Men were that sat there and listened to the whole thing. It was our phones
right.
left alone.
I only had 2 viewers the whole time.
But if you have an opportunity to sit down with an officer, do it. You'll find we're all mostly normal people, slightly disturbed like the rest, and we have families, we have kids. Generally most of us have grown up here or have ties here, and we really do like to sit down and talk with folks, because there are questions that people have, and the only way to get the answer is to talk to a cop. So I always encourage that.
And outside of the cupboard door incident, that was how you and I linked up and all this started, because we went and met and just sat and talked for a little bit. And how often do those coffees with the cops, or I know the shopping thing is mainly Christmas time, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe we can all talk and maybe get some people to help us finance it. We can sponsor one through us.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how often last year they didn't do them at all because of COVID. Prior to that, I think we did them. I want to say once a quarter, but don't quote me on that. Now, if you were home the other day, I'm trying to think what day it was. Summer school was going on there at Caro Schools, and I got some pretty amazing friends, and Officer Geyser and Lieutenant Pisha and McComb and Sergeant Robinson and Caro Fire and MMR did a parade of lights for all the kids. They got to see the emergency vehicles and
Facebook blew up thinking there was a bomb scare or shooter or something.
Yeah, and here we are just spreading good cheer. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry for those that if you're listening and you got freaked out by it, I'm sorry, but that's still hilarious.
Right. I promise you, if it was a real bomb, there'd be way more of us.
Right.
But it's a good time for the kids again to interact with law enforcement and other first responders. I don't want to date myself, but there was a time at my old school when I was elementary where we had Safetyville.
I remember Safetyville.
Shoot, way back before the DARE program, right? And it's a shame because let me tell you, they have defunded the police so much in the last 35 years that programs like that were great for kids to meet officers, they have taken that out of our toolboxes and tool belts to use to connect with the communities that we live in. And kids loved it. I loved it, riding them stupid little bikes around the roads that were painted on the floor. It was great to meet the officers back then. Or there just has to be more of that connecting with our communities. I really do believe that. I do believe wholeheartedly in community policing. And honestly, 3 years ago you would have not heard me say that ever. I probably would have choked you if you said I had to go to a public event. But
okay, so why the change?
Well, I realized a part of it was a personal change, growth and development on my part, and again, seeing the response, I guess, from the communities. People always, I've shared with it before, people buy my lunch frequently. They buy my drinks frequently, and I don't ask them to. I don't like them to. And generally when they do, I just end up putting money, what my meal was going to cost me. I just pay it anyway and tell them to put it on somebody else's tab. But there is a connection to the communities that during this time you really need to have. And when you can see that benefit law enforcement on our side, that it has good dividends to pay into.
And I want to make sure that, those that are, maybe they're listening to us later on sometime in the future, and you're not from our area, or you have an area that you patrol that it's not a nice area, or is this friendly? Because like you said earlier, our area is very much majority pro law enforcement, first responders.
Correct.
So if you're in an area that's not necessarily pro law enforcement, and here you're listening to someone who's been a law enforcement officer for 13 years in a generally majority pro police, pro first responder area saying this, that goes even more for the other areas that have certain issues. Because here, like I said, 13 years, this is a good area, I think, to be a police officer. Leadership and other stuff will be another podcast, but for the most part, the community's good. And here you're seeing a change, and after a decade of serving, that community policing is beneficial, and you already have the support.
Right. Absolutely. And we work closely with other agencies like the Child Advocacy Center that does a lot for us, and we support their superhero run, and it's a good way to show the communities that we're a team. It's you have your Child Advocacy Center, you got your prosecutor's office, which a lot of people love to hate. Unfortunately, our corrections guys and our dispatch guys and gals tend to get left out of the conversation, but we're all a team. We all feed into these communities. We try and always put our best foot forward. And like I said, at the end of the day, when they can see us come together for things like Shop with a Hero, where we can make an impact in these kids' lives at home, and we do it for the kids, but we know it helps mom and dad too, or in some situations, mom or dad. Okay. So it's very important. It really is. The kids, what they see on TV is drastically different than what we grew up with. Today, heck, my kids sat on the couch and watched Chips most of the day. You know what I mean? So, that wholesome law enforcement role model that we had growing up, you don't have that today. You turn on like NCIS or any of the crime shows, they're always talking about dirty cops, and that's fine. I'll be the first one to sit here and tell you, yes, there are dirty cops. However, it is not nearly as rampant as people think. And I can promise you, there's nobody that hates dirty cops more than cops. So, it's just a way to show our communities that we have their support, we have their back, we truly do serve them. It's just, there's just many things that officers can do, even if it's just stopping in on a medical, it doesn't even have to be a serious medical, like a full arrest. It could be something simple as, in my opinion, like a difficulty breathing. That shit can be scary when you're home alone, when you're a senior citizen, or even a senior citizen that had fallen. I'm not giving away anything, but a couple weeks back, there was this a mailman, a male woman had heard somebody yelling for help, and she found this elderly male on the ground, and I was just around the corner, so I responded, and I had some water I carry water in my truck, and I gave him some water to cool down because it was one of those hotter than hubs of hell days, and he had been laying down there for several hours with a obvious, I don't know the final outcome, but he had an obvious hip injury. It was either dislocated or broken, but it was obvious to me. He's been laying out there for several hours. He's got to be scared shitless. I would be. He had other health issues, and just to see a first responder, no, I'm not a freaking medic, but you know what? I can I can hold your hand. I can talk to you. I can calm you down until the help does get here. And that goes a long ways when, you know, let's face it, we need money. We need millages. We need, you know, tools. We need trainings. And generally what we have to do is ask taxpayers. So it's those instances that people remember. Remember what I said when generally people only have 2 interactions with police and they're generally bad, traffic stops and victims of crime. Well, the only way we can change that is through community policing, education, and outreach such as that. Now, I'm not calling for everybody to be public safety officers, but there's nothing wrong. We're trained in basic first aid. We're trained in CPR. Stop and help. You know, and that's I've met some amazing people just doing that. You know, I helped with a lift assist a few weeks back, and in the guy's home, I seen he'd had some military stuff in his house, and I seen he'd had an Air Force hat, and there was something else that was Air Force. So I asked him, and sure enough, he was Air Force, and he was retired out of Selfridge. That's where I retired from. And he was, I'm going to excuse the jargon, Jerrod, so don't ask. So he's what we call as a load toad, and I was an ammo guy. So when I worked line delivery, I would bring the munitions after they were made, and I would deliver them to the aircraft. And then this is the guy that loads them on the aircraft, right? He does all the weapons checks and all the systems checks on the aircraft and loads them up that way. So for that guy, I don't want to say he forgot that his wife was injured, but again, it was another sense of connection to the first responders that were serving him. You know, he was like, dude, that's really cool that, you know, you and I retired out of the same base, and, you know, blah, 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 you know, and it's connections like that, man. So yeah, that's the only way you can change it, is to be interactive with your communities. You know, I did have some opportunities to work beside some community officers. I don't know what their technical name is, over in Saginaw, and I mean, they work in some shit areas, bro. Like, I'm talking, I wouldn't work
went to
there.
those areas when I was working at the television studio for the public schools. I went into those areas.
Like,
too,
there's no
so
way
did
in
elementary
hell,
schools.
right? Like, I mean,
Right.
I have ballistic panels on the doors of my car, right? I will slow ride my seat just so that most of me is behind that panel, right? It's already got to be a big panel to cover me, but you know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are out there, like, just what I'm saying, man. They're out talking to the kids on the street. They'll play basketball. You know, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Some of these guys are getting it. They really are.
Good. You had me. I was going to say something, then you kept going and completely lost it. Never mind. Jerrod, go for it.
Right.
I'm so glad it wasn't me this time.
Well, I think I get to listen to fireworks in my neighborhood again. I think is what I'm hearing in the background. It's not even dark yet. They're already shooting them off.
You need bigger sound panels. I think I still got the ones we made.
Oh, right.
4th of July is coming up. That's what I was going to talk about. 4th of July is coming up.
I'll be working. Yes.
Oh, you're working on it. Stop in.
Yes.
There's so many different ways we can go with this, but what can we do?
For God's sakes, I'll say this, people. Don't call 911 on fireworks. They're legal. We're not going to stop them. It's America. There I said my piece.
So that was one thing I was gonna kind of ask. I guess Amanda's leaving, so I'll have to ask her later. But do we get a lot of calls just because of fireworks, and what do you do in that situation?
I gotta bring myself back down, because I was all excited about community policing, and now you're asking me to talk about people.
Wait, aren't people in the community?
Yes, but I believe me when I say I hate people. Okay, there's a thing that I just, you know, knock it off. Like, it's not hurting anybody. It's once or twice a year. Just leave your neighbors alone. Let them enjoy themselves. You know,
Now, if they're aiming them at passing cars, okay, go ahead and call that in.
Or
Sure.
shooting them off in the middle of the street, which happened here in my town. The local cop saw us out and about. He's like, "You never believe what I just had to do." Out in the second busiest street in this town, right out in the middle.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
don't do that. Don't impede traffic.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep it in your yard.
right. You know, my buddy, my partner and I one time, I always got to bring up the story when it's appropriate. And the neighbors were shooting off fireworks, and a bottle rocket had went in behind the siding and started a fire in the house. And you know, he and I got there before the local small town PD got there. We got there before the fire department. We booted the door. We rescued her newborn baby, and 2 dogs. So yeah, you know, there's times when you can call 911.
Yeah.
But
If it's burning where
generally,
it shouldn't be, that's a
Right.
great time. Or
know,
if you're
and-
missing a digit that was there before you lit it, that's another.
well, that
good
was
time.
that was 2 years ago. We had a gentleman lose a hand to mishandling fireworks.
Unintended pun.
So yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a message from my wife. Hold on, she may have a question.
No, stop the show. Jules is on.
Stop the show. Yeah, right.
Yeah, she was bringing up that I thought about it earlier, and I guess I'm gonna go there because she said so. So that's why we've been married happily for 15 years. But the fireworks and veterans, we're for first responders and veterans. This is a tough one for me because July 4th, not to get into our last episode, mind you, I have not listened to that one, and I don't think my wife has yet. Right. If you guys want to see what it's like to be putting your emotions out there, listen to the last episode we had. But what about shooting off where you know veterans are? Do you think that's a thing? Because we've got a lot of people that put the yes, she reminds me all the time how happily married I am. Did I get that cue card right? Okay. Yeah. But we've got guys that put signs out. Veteran lives here, no fireworks, please. Okay, you can put whatever sign you want out there. Personally, I never will. And yes, fireworks do affect me, especially around July 4th, because on July 8th, my unit lost a medic and a friend of mine.
Right.
So that time of year, let's just say my anxiety meds regulate quite a bit because I can't, and it's been
we were
years.
rocket attacked on July 4th, and knock on wood, we didn't lose anybody. So yeah, I don't necessarily like them. Yeah, you know, it's a challenge. But for the most part, if I can stay busy doing other things like working, I don't like working on July 4th, but I will. So as long as I'm getting decent calls, it's not a problem. You know, you won't catch me sitting in Bay City on the riverside watching them explode overhead. No, at least not without an inhaler and medications and everything else. But yeah, I don't see. Here's the thing, man, and my coworkers kind of laugh at it all the time. Is I love my veterans on here, but let me just say this. God, I hate veterans, right? And I mean this in a special
with all the
way.
love and
right. Like, I know that's my focus group, but just hear me out. Follow with me, okay?
I think I know where you're going with this.
Oh God,
all
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to reword it so that I don't it's just us three. We don't. The general population, they don't owe you personally anything.
Correct.
Okay. We joined out of our own servanthood, our own willingness to serve. We don't owe you anything. You know, the VA owes you, the government owes you, but I don't. I don't owe you anything. And this goes from like on a traffic stop. This happens all the time. You know, they give me a veteran's ID card. I'm like, that has nothing to do with what we're about to talk about. Nothing. And it pisses them
that
off.
one
And
stayed
I don't
in my
care.
wallet. I only gave
Yeah,
up my
like,
driver's
I don't care that you're a military veteran. If anything, it pisses me off because you knew better, right? You're supposed to have integrity. You're supposed to have all these core values that I shouldn't have to be stopping you, right? So aside from that, we all know the veteran that throws a sign out or you know, wears a hat or does anything to attract, you know, the thank me for my service type veteran. I hate those ones. You know, we talk about our experiences on here because this is, damn it, it's our platform. We can do that, right? But
we're trying to normalize the trauma so that way somebody else who's struggling with it. Do we like talking about our stuff? No. No.
Again, listen to the last episode.
Thank you.
So, you know, it bothers me with what the intent is. Just like a few shows back in the beginning, we talked about the wallet cards that says I'm a PTSD.
Oh, yep.
You know, that you carry in your wallet.
Yep.
Look, man, I don't need a damn timeout card. Okay. You remember when the Army did those? You guys stressed out in basic training and you got a stupid timeout card.
As I was getting out, I had a guy that came to my unit that asked me about those.
Yeah, like, really? Like, come on, man. Look, as long as, and this is how I feel about it. All right. Neither one of us have a good, positive outlook on July 4th, right? Our experiences. But through treatment, through medications, through working through some things with our families, it'll still affect you, but you should be able to get through it, right? Like I can get through it with my wife and my kids, right? And I don't like fireworks. I don't like the large crowds. There's nothing about July 4th that I like, but I will take my kids to see them because, well, damn it, it's American. We're supporting, you know, the beliefs, the foundations of this country, although some people are confused right now. But, you know, it's the ideology standing behind it that I firmly believe in, right? So I will do those things begrudgingly, but I'll do them. I don't look for attention from it. You know, it just this is where people have to be honest with themselves and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't like it. You know, maybe it's any other day. Maybe it's you know, I firmly believe we were attacked on July 4th because they knew that we were celebrating.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
They have the big, you know, burger burns where they're treating, you know, all the GIs to a little taste of home, and they really thought they would catch us off guard. Well, they didn't. They failed. And you know, if anything, that just made us feel even more proud. Like, oh, you want to attack us on our holiday? All right. You know, we didn't take any casualties.
We set up our own fireworks at that point.
Right. Exactly. Like, yeah, how'd you like that shit? Right. Like, it just, you know, and this is where I say I'm getting off track, but you got to be honest with yourself. If you're having problems with any holiday or whatever your trigger may be, you talk to your loved one, talk to a trusted friend, go see a counselor, right? If you have to take medications for a bit, hey, it's cool. Take them. They don't want you on them forever either. It's just to help you to take the edge off while you learn how to cope and build your coping mechanisms.
Yeah, so Bobby asked a question. She says, why does it bother you? And I think I'll take this one. Why does July 4th bother me? When I really realized that fireworks were as an issue, and if my wife is still listening, she will definitely, she was there for this. we were at a Detroit Tigers baseball game, a night game. So it was, I believe it was the month of July.
Right. Every Friday night, I think they do them.
Yes. And they have a spectacular fireworks. I remember seeing them at the old Detroit Stadium when I was a kid. And so I went ahead, or we were there and we were sitting. We were back off the third baseline, but the fireworks were in the center of the outfield. So, I mean, they're right there. And it's like to the point you're looking back, almost got your head in the lap behind you because you're trying, everything's going off straight over your head. Well, on this particular day, and I think I had been out for 6 years, not thinking anything of it. The fireworks went off, and I knew they were going off. I was watching them go off, and all of a sudden, this one went off that had looked like yellow tracers to me.
Yep.
And my wife looked at me, and she knew something was off because she watched my body style, my body position, or tense up. So she knew something was off. I'd already been diagnosed with PTSD. I knew all that. I thought I knew my triggers. When we were in Iraq, we had what's called, I believe it's called the CRAM. It's called something else when it's on the ship, but as it comes in, I think I've shared it on the podcast before, as a incoming round starts making that trajectory down, this CRAM is radar guided to take out the round that's incoming. And it took one out right over our head. Pretty sure it was coming close. I don't know how close. It's very difficult to tell, but I remember watching that yellow stream of tracer rounds go over my head and pop. And at that instant, I was back in Iraq because I saw that yellow stream go up over my head. There's been times, we get personal on this. There's been times that we had somebody set off fireworks near our house, and I've been on the floor where my wife came down and I was in such a mess, my nerves just shut right down. And she came down there with me. We got, everything was taken care of. Everything was fine. But yeah, it triggers you if you've been in situations where there's just a sudden explosion. Now I've found, maybe I don't know about you, John, but I've found if I set the suckers off, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Why? Yep. Because veterans like control.
Yep,
we absolutely do.
That's why I don't like flying. I'm not in control. Legit, like part of my worries about having a partner is when he drives. I'm not saying anything about his driving. I'll leave that to here after September. But it's just I don't like not being in control. I'm in my mind a superior driver to everyone. So it's I'm going to be driving.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I have no way to speak right now after getting pulled over, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. Jerrod, you take that. But yeah, it's and then add on top of that, July 4th is kind of around July 8th. They kind of follow each other. And then we talked about anniversaries and stuff before on this, so you guys can go back and listen to other podcasts if you haven't heard them. But anniversaries are hard. So all that coming together right around the week of July, I am a nervous wreck. In fact, I looked the other day. I have enough meds to get me through following doctor's orders. I'm not taking extra. I'm not taking anything new. So I'm just going to put that out, in case we get transcribed again.
Make sure you have enough refills, okay, and get them filled before a long holiday weekend.
Yes.
Bad news can happen.
That has been done. And, I prepare for July 4th. Do I like July 4th? Do I like the holiday? Okay, I like the holiday, but I don't like what comes with the holiday. And then, my wife is in Canada with her family, and they've got Canada Day, which is July 1st. So even when I'm over there, I can't escape it. Now, does that mean I go and dig a bunker and go hide in it for that week? No. I still have a job to do. I still have a family family's out of town right now, but I still have a family. I still have our farm. I still have stuff I'm responsible for.
Sure.
But does it affect me and affect those around me? Absolutely. And during those times, and John had already said it, reach out to somebody. If you don't have a counselor, find a counselor. If you don't like that counselor when you first sit down with them, ask them to find another one.
Sure.
You know, I've been the counselor and the counselee. If it doesn't fit, you need to find something you're comfortable with. A friend, family member, find somebody to talk to and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. It sounds difficult. It sounds weak, but I'm telling you right now, I would not be married for 15 years this year if it wasn't for the fact that I said I need help.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't have the flashbacks per se. I have the like ridiculous anxiety where I swear I'm having a heart attack, dripping sweat, can't breathe. Like, yeah, it's bad, you know, and sometimes I feel like like let's say I'm going to Bay City for the fireworks. I will have anxiety the moment you tell me we're making plans to go, all the way up until the show's over, you know. And you know, but for me it's loud noises in general. I mean, yesterday Jonathan and I were at the ATM getting money out, and you know, I still don't know what it was. It was not a backfire. I will tell you that. It was not a backfire from an engine, but it was something loud. And in my mind, anything that I can't discern what it is right away, it's a gunshot, right? And it scared the living hell out of me. Like, I yelled, I'm reaching for my weapon, which I didn't have it on me. You know, and it was just like, you know, I'm looking, you know, I'm observing, I'm looking, I'm just like, what the, you know, what's going on? And you know, so that's one of the things, like I said, because the rockets that we had, we were attacked in the middle of the day, and so there were no incoming. All we heard was the siren and the impacts, so we couldn't see them coming. So that's part of where my anxiety comes in. You know, we had been attacked at night before, so yeah, same thing with the streamers that go up and then they explode. Yeah, those, I don't care for those. I'm sure fireworks are beautiful. I remember when they were beautiful when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
You know, I just, you know, I think I shared something on our page sometime over the last week where, you know, that's a life that I won't get back. You know, that's due to my experiences. You know, the honest enjoyment of fireworks, they're gone. So, you know, it's just, you have to find out what your triggers are and how to work with them.
And if you're struggling over July 4th, or really, you know, it seems to come out a lot more in July 4th, I think, in the work that I do. But if you're struggling over this time and you need anybody to talk to, you know, we're probably struggling too, and we'll need somebody to talk to. So get a hold of us.
Right.
This page, or, you know, Veterans Warriors Hope, definitely first responders, contact us. You know, if, you know, we don't care. If you just want to talk, you want to talk. Both of us probably have insomnia anyway, so, you know, we're up all hours. And soon you'll be up all hours just because you get paid for it.
Right. Wee.
So
yeah, you're right, Bobby.
thoughts there,
Exposure
Jerrod?
therapy is not recommended.
Oh yeah, yeah. Unless it's C4 shaped charges and we're setting them off ourselves, then
Right.
then we might be able to talk.
I'll bring the deck cord.
We'll I mean, lumber's expensive, so we'll have to build it out of steel.
Right.
Jerrod, you want to wrap us up for tonight?
Yeah, and actually, I want to wrap us up with a year ago yesterday. Facebook reminded me I got challenged to do 22 push-ups over 22 days. So today would be the 1-year anniversary of starting that 484 push-up challenge, which led to me meeting Dustin.
And led to this.
And led to this show. So you guys have your origin story with the cabinet that we brought up. So I had to bring up this part
when
of the
we
origin
do
story.
Our kitchen, I am going to like engrave that or something, or
Right.
gold plated, or
frame it out, bronze it like like little booties, and
I'll engrave SDC on it.
All right. But that, I think that challenge was important, and the guy who challenged me, I think I was one of few people who actually did all 22 days. So it was really nice to be able to do that and meet Dustin along the way and do some help with Warriors Hope and starting the show. So anybody out there, when you get challenged to do that 22 push-up challenge, do all 22 days. Tubby like me got it done. You can do it too. So
I think I've got enough from basic training and former NCOs. I got enough in the bank. I'm good.
Right. Careful, remember it was a Marine challenged me. So, and he did all his too. All right. So we'll sign off. Everybody have a good night. Hit us up on Facebook or survivingdangerclose@gmail.com. I had to look at my other computer to see it because I couldn't remember how we had it. So hit us up if you're struggling, and we will see you all at the next show. Thanks.